Hello and welcome to Battlefront News. Today I have 5 pieces of news for you. A very big day today. Firstly, an article on VG247 stated that DICE confirmed that this Star Wars Battlefront game coming out is not Star Wars Battlefront 3. Speaking to Eurogamer, EA Games boss Patrick Soderlund said that the new game is DICE's own take on the series. He quoted, "This is DICE's interpretation of what Battlefront should be. That's the best description you can have." He also said, "There are absolutely things in the previous Battlefront games that you'll recognise and remember, but DICE wants to put its own flavour on it. That's the only way we can do it." Lastly, he finishes off with, "Hence it's just called Star Wars Battlefront, without a 3 at the end. We want to say it's something new, but again it's going to be very Star Wars and very cool." I think, being that it's been almost 8 years, or maybe even more than 8 years now since the announcement and release of Star Wars Battlefront 2, we were all going to see this coming. I think Star Wars Battlefront 3 has had too many bumps, it's been too long in the making, and given the amount of problems that it's had in its development, it's kind of a freaking omen to call it Battlefront 3. I have mixed views on whether this is a good or a bad thing. I'm glad that we're going to be getting a Star Wars Battlefront game, and the name, to be honest, doesn't really matter so long as it has the core gameplay elements that Star Wars Battlefront was absolutely brilliant for. Our second piece of news comes from an old article on T3, where EA has confirmed that it will continue publishing games on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 for at least another 4 years. Speaking at the Sitfeld 2013 Technology Conference, EA's chief financial officer said that the company would continue to support the current generation of consoles, at least until 2017. That means that our current generation is actually going to have a shelf life of 12 years, longer than the 10-year shelf life that the developers intended for. This is major news, guys. That means if they're supporting it up until 2017, with a probable 2015-2016 release date for Star Wars Battlefront, it is very probable that Star Wars Battlefront will be released on our current generation systems. However, there will be drawbacks. They'll be trying to get as much out of the next generation as possible, get used to using the tools, get used to using all the different power elements that they can use with the next generation, given that they have a huge boon to processing power. So I wouldn't be surprised to see drawbacks, perhaps limited battle sizes, limited multiplayer size, different game modes are restricted or limited to the player in the 360 version, but I'm sure it will still be a great game. Our third piece of news comes from an article on GameSpot stating that Star Wars Battlefront is being made by DICE Stockholm, not DICE Los Angeles. As we all know, EA recently established DICE Los Angeles to handle the development of the next 3 Star Wars games that have been put forward in the contract with Disney. We all assumed that Star Wars Battlefront was going to be made at DICE Los Angeles since it was a studio created for the sole purpose of making Star Wars games. This is wrong. EA Games label chief Patrick Soderlund said in an interview with Eurogamer that the new Los Angeles outfit will be taking a supporting role. Perhaps this is because the studio is not yet ready to make a full-on game on its own. However, he also goes on to say, "We will support a lot of what's made in Stockholm from Los Angeles." Imagine stuff like potential expansion packs and premium services being managed and handled out of Los Angeles, but the main game Battlefront is being built in Sweden. And so is Mirror's Edge, and so is Battlefield 4. We know here that DICE Stockholm is very overloaded with games at the moment. They're developing a new Battlefront, which is going to be a huge game. They're developing and managing Battlefield 4, which is also a major release. And Mirror's Edge, which people have been waiting on for many years now, is also being developed there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of job hirings. However, what was stated in that quote there is that Star Wars Battlefront has been confirmed for being developed at DICE Stockholm, the Swedish studio, with potential expansion packs and premium services, which we know that EA has been very supportive of, means they're removing the online pass, being handled out of Los Angeles. I can see this as good news, guys, because it means it will speed up the process in the development of DLC, and also DICE Stockholm is very well versed in creating games similar to Battlefront, i.e. Battlefield 4. When you look at the similarities between the two, there are an abundance of gameplay similarities. So I'm pretty sure they'll have a very good time making the game, and it will be an absolute blast for them because they're very used to making games in that genre. Our fourth piece of news comes from the executive producer Patrick Bach. He stated that the Bad Company series is by no means killed. He goes, and I quote, "Right now I would not say we have the bandwidth to do it at the DICE studio in Stockholm." He also added, "The Bad Company series is by no means killed or anything, it's still out there." This is important as it supports the fact that Star Wars Battlefront is being developed out of DICE Stockholm. As DICE Stockholm is now handling Star Wars Battlefront, Battlefield 4 and Mirror's Edge, I would be highly surprised for them to announce the development of another game at that studio. Otherwise they are dangerously overloading the studio. Our final piece of news is about E3 2014. As E3 2013 saw over 48,000 journalists, PR, publishers, developers and other gaming industry pros attend, it has now been confirmed that the dates for E3 2014 will take place between June the 10th and June the 12th next year at the LA Convention Center. This is amazing news. We now have the dates for the next major news release of Star Wars Battlefront. At EA 2013, just a few days ago, Star Wars Battlefront was announced. However, I don't think we'll see anything as far as gameplay until EA 2014 at the next download conference. So that's a date to look out for, and remember, as I highly suspect that EA's The Download Conference at E3 2014 will be a major news story for Star Wars Battlefront. I highly suspect they'll show alpha gameplay, they'll show a trailer, perhaps even trailers for the different game modes in the game. Whatever they show, it will be very major news, because that is roughly 1 year, if not sooner, away from the release of Star Wars Battlefront. I'm afraid that's all the news today, guys. To do a little bit of a recap here, Star Wars Battlefront is confirmed for not being Star Wars Battlefront 3. It's a brand new game being made by DICE. They wanted to put their own take on the series, so they have renamed it. There is not going to be a Star Wars Battlefront 3. Our second piece of news was that EA is going to continue creating games for the current generation of consoles until 2017. This means that it's highly probable for Star Wars Battlefront to be released on the current generation of consoles. However, there is no news as of yet as to whether these games will have any limitations or any graphical downgrades. Our third piece of news was that DICE Stockholm would be handling the development of Star Wars Battlefront and not DICE Los Angeles, despite DICE Los Angeles being created for the sole purpose of making Star Wars games. This possibly is because DICE Stockholm is well versed in creating the genre of games that Star Wars Battlefront is in, such as the Battlefield series. Our fourth piece of news from today is that DICE is too busy to create any more games due to the development of Battlefront. And finally, our last piece of news was that E3 2014 has been announced for June the 10th and June the 12th, 2014. This is a very important set of dates, guys, as that will be the locale for EA's The Download Conference, where I'm sure we will see more news about Star Wars Battlefront. I'm afraid that's all the news for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.